All right, today we are discussing freestyle rotation, and the strategy we are going to be using to improve freestyle rotation is underwater recovery. So, why does rotation matter? Well, the shoulders only have so much range of motion. And so, if your face is in the water, to recover the arms over the water, the arm needs to get behind the body. And so, you can just do this right now. Try to move your arm behind the body. It's pretty much impossible to get it well behind the body unless you are extremely mobile. And most swimmers aren't, even ones that are pretty mobile. And so, how are you going to get your arm out of the water? The only way to do that is to actually rotate backwards. Now, see how far back the arm goes now. You can get a full recovery now pretty easily. And so that's why rotation is so important. And without it, it's going to kill speed because you either have to drag the arm through the water, which is going to create a lot of resistance, or you have to really swing it around. And if you do, it's going to be much more difficult to enter effectively versus swinging it across your body, which is going to move your shoulders side to side. Now you're wiggling down the pool and creating even more resistance. So rotation is critical because it allows swimmers to have the range of motion through the shoulder by just rotating backwards instead of trying to get that through the shoulder itself, which is pretty much impossible. However, it's not just about the recovery. It matters for the pull as well. And so obviously, if the body is flat to the water, you can pull pretty effectively, as we can see in butterfly. However, if swimmers continue to rotate through the pull, they can maintain a pretty effective surface area for just a little bit longer. However, that in fact is not as significant as the arm recovery issue. It does become an issue of timing. And so by the time the arm pulls, the body has to be at least flat back to the pull, or else the arm's not going to be in nearly effective position to pull with. To play with that, rotate towards the pulling arm and then try to pull down. It's not going to be nearly as strong as if you're flat and you try to pull down. And so timing the rotation so that the body is flat or even rotated towards the pulling arm when the pull begins is a critical aspect of rotation timing. So we talked about why rotation matters. What does effective rotation in freestyle look like? Swimmers have to get the shoulder rotated up for the arm recovery so that the arm recovery can be as fluid as possible. Try to recover the arms when they're flat. You can't really do it. The shoulder has to rotate back to make it happen. And in butterfly, yes, that happens without rotation, but the body lifts up. And so it's the same idea, getting a little bit extra range of motion. It's just a different strategy. Secondly, the body needs to be flat after the catch and then rotating towards the pulling arm once the power portion of the pull starts. And that's so that the strongest muscles of the body can effectively create force and do so for a longer period of time. If that doesn't happen, the pull is going to be compromised. And so we've all seen these swimmers, as an example, where they take this huge breath, they rotate, and then they pull before they rotate back. And what do they get out of that arm stroke? Not a whole lot. And so it's the same thing. The body's got to be rotated back before the pull really gets rolling. So for both to happen effectively, the timing is important. In sprinting, rotation occurs during the arm recovery so that there's no delay in the pull. So the shoulder goes up, the arm recovers, and as the arm recovers over, there's rotation so that the arm is already in position to execute the pull. In distance swimming, it's a little bit different. The rotation occurs after the arm recovery because there's more time before the pull. And so timing is key because it allows for an effective pull to happen and an effective arm recovery to happen. If the timing's off, one or both of those aren't going to be nearly as effective, and that's ultimately going to slow swimmers down. Once you understand what's happening during rotation and rotational timing, it's all about helping swimmers learn how to do it. The problem is that most drills miss the point. They either exaggerate the amount of rotation, where the swimmer's all the way on their side, or they eliminate the timing of the rotation. And so it's the back and forth between one side to the other that is really key, and the timing of that relative to the arms is what ultimately drives the stroke. Many drills don't consider that. They just focus on getting a lot of rotation or staying in a rotated position. It's not about more rotation. It's actually about as little as necessary at the right time so that the arms can recover smoothly and the pull can be effective. And if most drills aren't emphasizing those key skills, swimmers aren't going to get any better with the rotational timing. Communication is also difficult. Improving timing isn't about what, it's about when. And so precision is really important, especially at faster and faster speeds. And that can be difficult to communicate because there's multiple moving parts, and figuring out how to coordinate all of them is difficult, and it's difficult to describe in words. And so a lot of traditional approaches to helping swimmers improve these skills can fall flat because you're trying to describe something that's difficult to put into words. And since swimmers need to learn these skills, we need to find a different strategy. One of my favorite strategies is underwater recovery. And so it's freestyle. Swimmers are just going to recover the arms underwater. And by doing so, it allows swimmers to rotate in the right amount at the right time. What I really like about it is that it retains most of the essential elements of freestyle. It has the same basic rhythm, And so if swimmers can figure out how to do it in this context, they can usually figure out how to do it while swimming regular freestyle pretty quickly and pretty easily. So again, recovering underwater simplifies the stroke. It retains the essential rhythm. And it tends to reinforce the right timing because when the arm moves forward, the body moves forward. And swimmers tend to develop that side-to-side rhythm, and it's intimately tied in with what the arms are doing, and that's ultimately what we want. We want the arms tied to the rotation so we get effective arm recoveries and effective arm pulls. And because of the way it's set up, it's really hard to get ahead of the rotation. I also really like this exercise because it prevents over-rotation, and that allows swimmers to stay locked in with the right amount of rotation. It also gives swimmers a little bit of flexibility in that if they want to wait out in front a little bit longer, they can wait out in front a little bit longer. And that's just driven by how quickly they start the recovery of the arms. And so it can be really effective for both sprinters and distance swimmers. My favorite part of underwater recovery is that you can train it. And so you can use it in any type of set, at any type of speed, at any type of intensity. And so if you want to help swimmers continue to get better with the rotational timing, just add speed. Have them go fast, have them descend, have them build. Add some volume, put their ability to sustain those skills under pressure. Add fatigue, help them learn how to manage it when they start to get tired. Use training aids, fins, you can use different paddles, you can use almost anything, and that'll also help challenge them to execute their skills in different situations. You can do it against resistance. They have to lock in, they have to be effective even though the resistance is trying to slow them down. And you can alternate with swimming and over-under freestyle. So all that is you recover one arm under the water, one arm over the water, and that's a progression back to regular freestyle. And you can integrate underwater recovery with either of those, either swimming or over-under freestyle, and that can help the transition. You can do all of these in different variations, in different combinations, and ultimately you can just train this drill. And that makes it really effective because swimmers can learn how to execute these skills in harder and harder situations, and you can use them in training sets without giving up any of the fitness benefits that you're looking for with your workouts. These sets, we're using underwater recovery to improve freestyle timing. So the first set is 850s. The odds are underwater recovery is 25 smooth, 25 build, and then the evens are 25 underwater recovery plus 25 freestyle, descend 1 to 4. So they're just getting a feel for that at a little bit different speeds. Speed tends to change the timing a little bit, so that helps them figure that out. Next set you can do is 4 rounds of 425s underwater recovery. They're going to descend 1 to 4, and then they're going to go 100 freestyle, descend 1 to 4 at the same stroke count. Round 1 for the drill, they go parachute. Round 2 upside down paddles. Round 3 drag socks. Round 4 no equipment. So they're going to experience the drill in a lot of different contexts. Last set, a little bit more of an endurance set. They're going to go a series of swims where they build the underwater recoveries, really try to get the timing locked in and pick up the speed with it. And then they're going to go a longer effort, negative split. And so it's a good way to build some aerobic fitness while working on skills at the same time and helping swimmers learn to sustain those skills for longer durations. If freestyle timing is a skill that your swimmers are struggling with, I highly recommend you give underwater recovery a shot. It's really effective, it's really simple, and ultimately it works. As always, keep it simple.